The key to becoming a good cattleman is buying the right cattle at the right price. In the 1980s, one cattleman in Missouri had a unique talent for choosing the very best cattle and paying very little for it. In Chillicothe, Missouri, the local barbershop is still the place to hear news and swap stories and even pick a few tunes. It is also the place where farmers still make a living raising cattle and selling them at auction. In the late 1980s, cattle auction houses throughout the state were being swindled. Buyers, who were mostly drifters and transients, would show up, make their purchase, pay by check, and then disappear. The checks were inevitably worthless.
It was odd that several of them would have checks, and then when we went to look for them, we couldn't find them. We'd enter them into the computer, but they never showed up.
Many of the buyers had at some point worked on this farm in Moorestown, just outside of Chillicothe. The farm was owned by 78-year-old Ray Copeland and his wife, Faye.
They appeared to be just an elderly farm couple that were kind of shy and didn't mix much with the people, but never knew of them, causing any problem here.
The small farm wasn't enough to support the Copelands. Faye also worked in a factory and later as a motel maid.
We were just everyday people. I was taught from childhood on, you married, you stayed with them. Husband was the boss, and he was the boss.
But it was a hard life, and the family was poor.
The only shoes we ever had was school shoes, too. You'd have to go out there milking the cows barefooted, and this was included in the wintertime.
When the Copeland children left the farm to pursue their own dreams, Ray looked for farmhands to help work the farm. He was up in age, hard of hearing, and wasn't a great businessman.
Because Ray could not read or write, and with bookkeeping, writing names down where they were at, things like this, he needed somebody to write them down.
To find workers, Ray would go to local homeless missions.
Just ask people if they'd like to go out and, make some money and, get paid at the end of the day, or, we can help you get some finances started. And they'd go out and, get people and help them get an account started. In a bank.
These men were usually on the run themselves. Many had addictions, family problems, or suffered from mental illness. Most had been arrested for vagrancy, petty theft, or similar offenses. Ray Copeland paid them $50 a day for their labor and also provided a small-time con man who at one time had worked on Ray Copeland's farm.
He was a transient. He moved a lot, and he had a lot of stories, and I think he liked to tell a lot of stories.
McCormick said he thought he saw some human bones, including a skull, on the Copeland farm. The farm covered 40 acres, including a pond, a barn, fields, and woods. County deputies, Chillicothe Police, the State Highway Patrol, and the county coroner all searched the area.
Surveying the property and looking for possible burial sites on the property and possible places where the deaths actually took place.
We had search dogs, backhoes, and we'd punch a lot of holes around in the farm, and we had really searched this farm.
Appeared to have settled down because there had been no arrests in the 20 years since. And he had never been arrested for any violent crime. Police soon learned that Copeland worked on some other farms in the area to earn extra money. One was a farm just a few miles away. In the barn, where Copeland worked storing bales of hay, police discovered a shallow grave and the badly decomposed bodies of 3 men lined up head to toe. They had probably been there for 2 or 3 years and were unrecognizable.
They were just wrapped in blankets and in an earthen grave is what they were. In this situation, they were in some clay ground, which tends to kind of ward off decomposition because the air doesn't get to it as quickly as it was in, say, a different type of soil.
The three men had to bounce. Copeland confronted McCormick with a gun.
Ray had the pretense of a coon being down in a hole there in the barn.
Cool around here, that's trying to be nice. I think he's in that hole there. You're kind of sticking down there.
And he wanted Jack to get down with a stick and poke it out of the hole. And Jack said when he got down there, he said he was already kind of scared of Ray. But when he got down there, he said he wouldn't take his eyes off of Ray. He kept looking up at him because Ray had the .22 rifle and supposedly was going to shoot the coon when he poked it out of the hole.
I got a good shot at him. Come on, keep trying. He'll come out. He'll come out. Yeah, he'll come right out. I'll show you.
Jack said he looked up real fast, and then when he looked back, Ray had the rifle pointed at him.
McCormick said he talked Copeland out of shooting him. He promised Copeland he would leave the area and never come back. McCormick fled Missouri and for 5 months kept quiet because he feared Copeland would kill him if he ever told anybody about the scam. When investigators searched the Copeland's home, they discovered an old .22 caliber rifle and a full assortment of Harvey and Freeman were 3 of the 4 names on the Copeland list marked with an X. Coroner Scott Lindley performed autopsies on all of the bodies and discovered that the cause of death in each case was a gunshot wound to the head from a small caliber gun shot at close range.
If it's at close range, the inside layer of the skull tends to break away or flake away, and there's more cracking and damage to the skull.
And inside the skulls, Lindley found bullets and bullet fragments. Ballistics tests revealed that the lands and grooves on those fragments matched the lands and grooves from Ray Copeland's .22 caliber rifle. Police arrested Ray Copeland, as well as the person they believed was his partner in crime.
What surprised me more than anything else was them actually arresting Mom for the same thing.
But what role did 68-year-old Fay Copeland play in the murders? Ray Copeland was arrested and charged with the murder of 5 men in what was believed to be a modern-day cattle rustling scheme. They also arrested his wife, Fay.
But I was not with him when he done his bad deeds. I knew nothing about it, and it didn't include me.
While in prison, Fay wrote a letter to her husband assuring him that things would cool down soon. Fay's handwriting matched the handwriting on the list of the missing men. But Fay denied any knowledge of the murders.
I asked no questions. Wouldn't have done me any good if I had him, because he'd have slapped me across the house.
Ray Copeland's long history of violence had previously been hidden from everyone but the Copeland family.
There was one time one of my brothers was scraping the bottom of his bowl that had oatmeal. He didn't like the sound, took a frying pan to him. Myself personally, milking cows, the old cow kicked the bucket over, he took a pair of metal cow kickers and beat me with it for no reason. That was everyday occurrence with him.
Fay and Ray Copeland were each tried separately. These trials were the biggest news to ever hit Livingston County, Missouri. Prosecutors believe that Ray Copeland hired the workers at the homeless mission. He set up each one with a post office box and a checking account and took them to the local cattle auctions.
3080 on one.
But before the checks could bounce, prosecutors say Ray Copeland would sell the cattle and kill the worker and bury the body.
They were lower than anybody else. He could care less about them. They were on government payroll. They didn't need to be there. They didn't even need to be alive. He had said that lots of times about transients.
Forensic tests proved that the men were all killed with Ray Copeland's gun. Ray Copeland was convicted of 5 counts of murder and sentenced to death.
Hooray. Ray deserved it for what he done to the transits and the people all through his life. I mean, he deserved a death sentence.
Faye Copeland denied any involvement in the murders, saying she was an abused wife who only did what she was told.
Back then, I just dropped my head and went ahead and took it. I've carried bruises, I've carried broken bones from him. But he was my husband legally.
I think she had some idea as far as the cattle scam going on. As far as the killings, I don't know. I don't think so. I hope, pray to God, she didn't know.
The list of workers in Faye Copeland's handwriting helped seal the case against her. Copeland's list, Thomas Park, Franklin Hudson, and Dale Brake are still missing. Police believe they too were murdered and that their bodies are buried nearby, somewhere.